What's up, guys? I wanted to give you another emblem editor for Black Ops 2. This all works on the PS3, Xbox, and the Wii U, and you can use it on PC. Now please bear in mind, again, I'm not going to break down and tear my creations totally apart. I will show you, this is for reference, and sizing and positioning and what shapes to use. Okay, I will show you grid views. Please don't come on here bashing, saying show me how to do it. You know, I've got several people that's like, asshole, show me how to do it. And if that's going to be you, don't watch the video. A lot of people can follow simple instructions, simple visuals. If you're not a visual person, this tutorial is not for you. Anyway, let's go on. And again, not to be rude or disrespectful, but all you haters, go drink your haterade. Point is, this is Pikachu, and this is going to be how I actually put it together. And I'm gonna try to run through this real quick. Excuse me. Please remember to pause, rewind as often as you need to, recheck your sizing and positioning. Once you get done making this, come back, fill in everything, check, double check, triple check, make sure everything is properly aligned and to your liking before you continue and save. Remember, in Black Ops 2 you can save as often as you want, so it's not a big deal. If you get something right, you don't have the time to quite finish it, come back to it, do it later. Okay, here we go. First layer, we have a white. I'm sorry, I'm gonna actually try to clear an emblem. I didn't mean to. We use the white rounded square for the background. You can see where the backgrounding goes. For layer 2, we use the half circle. The half circle is what I used to fill in and kind of help me line up the head area. And I'll show you a grid view where it actually went. Again, you got to catch that grid view fast. Okay, and again, that's why I say pause. For layer 3, I basically copied the layer 2, pasted it, and that still is a half circle, and I call this a Pikachu yellow. I will show you one time how I achieved this coloration for Pikachu, and this will apply, so you might want to get a pencil and paper, write this down. The color that I actually used was the fourth one down from the upper left hand third row over. I used that color yellow right there, or I'm sorry, the fourth one down, excuse me. I used the color mixer. I came down on the color mixer and I lowered it down to the second column. I lowered it down to 175 to achieve Pikachu's color. Okay, I left the top one alone and I just lowered the middle one down to 175. That's the green column. Okay, moving on from that, remember that for all the Pikachu color. Okay, now that's layer 2 and 3, and I went over the colors that I use. Layer 4 is the smile outline. I had to use it for his ears. I ran out of blocks. I would love to have gotten that a little more perfect, but that will be suitable for this character. And you can see how I had to actually sketch and skew it and enlarge it around. Remember, pause is your friend, guys. Layer 5. This is his tail. Okay, I use the high voltage, and that's under emblems. And you can see the placement of it. Again, I had to sketch and skew it around to get the right effect that I wanted. Didn't have to mess with that one actually too much to achieve what I wanted. And again, that's Pikachu yellow. All of these yellows will be Pikachu yellow, but one yellow that I just got through showing you how to create. Layer 6, I use the thimble, and you can see its placement. I used it basically around his brow. Layer 7, I used the windsock, and I used it to give him that fat little belly and to fill in any kind of colors that were actually missing. Layer 8, basically copied 7, rotated it around to 8, which is still the windsock, Pikachu yellow, to give him his right arm, or on your screen, the left arm. For layer 9, same thing, copied 8, pasted that layer into 9. Again, it's the windsock, and I used it. I just rotated it around and placed it on the right hand corner. Okay, for layer 10, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. Okay, I'll show you layer 11 first, because I'll show you how you do this. Layer 11 is Pikachu yellow again. It is the shield, and you can see the placement of that shield. I'm trying to show you the placement of the shield on the left hand cheek. Okay, now what I did here is I placed it on the left hand cheek, the Pikachu yellow, and you can do it either way. I actually was alternating between the black and the yellow because I used a black in the background. Okay, I basically, once I got layer 11 in place on the left hand cheek, I basically copied it, placed it in front, and then after I placed it, I changed the color. Basically just changed the color. I changed it to this color black, the second one on the right, the far right corner. And then I moved it around, and I'll show you. You can move it around and it'll give the cheek the outline effect for Pikachu. And you can see it basically before you start moving, it'll look like that. Basically, what I did was I placed that layer into 10. Now this is going to apply for layer 10, 11, 12, and 13. I basically took this cheek and I moved, I got it around. I used the black and actually made it larger. Just pulled it around. You can make it as big as you need to line up the cheek, but it don't have to be too big. I left it big enough where I could see his cheek, and I moved it around until I seen the size of cheek that Pikachu had. And I lined it up with the left hand side up here of his head. You can kind of see how it all lined up, and I lined it up, and you can look at the graph too. The little grid will actually help you. And I just came back in, pulled in his cheek a little bit, sketched and skewed it just slightly, and then I actually give him the outline of his cheeks. And that's going to be the same with layer 13. I'll show you here. Basically put down layer 13, copy it, move it over, put your black in the background, and again do the same thing. You can maneuver it around. You can, if you want his cheek to come more into his eye, you can. I mean, it's just whatever you prefer. I just try to keep it as simple looking. You can see the placement here, and again, this is the shield. And if you need, I'll go back through each one of these real fast for you. And hopefully that gets you enough time. Remember to pause. This is a video. Now for layer 14, I used the full circle, and that was just to make his eyes. I sketched and skewed them, and the placement on this is pretty critical. He has a wide eye set, and you will find yourself coming back having to retweak these and get the sizing appropriate. I'll show you the grid real fast. Pause if you need to. Okay. And basically for the inside glare on his eyes, I used the full circle, and I used the off-white, not quite the whole white itself. I used the off-white, which I call it the off-white. It's the left or the right hand second one up to make his eye colored, or to give him the glare in his eyes. And you can see it's sketched and skewed around that both circles there. Now for layer 18, I used the kiss, and that is his nose. I rotated it around, find the right positioning, and I'll show you the grid again. Now once I got the positioning correct, I just made it black, just straight up black, and I pretty much just sketched and skewed it around till I got the right shape and placed it. Now for layer 19, I copied layer 18, pasted it into 19, which is the kiss. I made it the off-white to give his nose the little glare, and you can see it's that very small white speck. and kind of angle it more towards the left hand side of his nose, or position it. It's not that hard to do. For layer 20, I used the kiss again, and you can see that I rotated it around and I sketched and skewed it to give his mouth the shape. And there's the grid view again, guys. Okay, for layer 21 I used the quarter circle, and for layer 22 I used the quarter circle, and I used the black. Let me show you which black I used, guys. I used the second one down from the far right hand corner, and that was the black color I used for most of his facial features, black. And you can see how I had to sketch and skew that quarter circles around to give his smile that big bright Pikachu smile. Okay, moving on from there, I used the tongue, which it was actually black, to create the open mouth, and you can see there how it actually filled in. Again, pause if you need to. For layer 24, I used the half heart, and I used it up on the upper left ear to give him that coloration on his upper left ear, and I used the all black for that. I'm sure that you could actually use the black down below, the second one over from the right. I mean, I don't care to change it because it doesn't have to be pure black. Okay. For layer 25, I used the tongue again, and I just rotated it around and skewed it down, and just used a basic red. And use your own judgment on what color you want his tongue to be, which red. There's multiple ones that actually looked right with him. Okay. For layer 26, I used the thimble, and the thimble here, you'll notice the opacity is 70%, and I'll let you remember this is the thimble, 70%, and I use the second black down from the right again, and you can see the placement of the thimble in the mouth. That was to give his tongue a shadowing effect because he has his mouth open. Moving on to layer 27, I used the pyramid, and I used the same color black as before, the second one down from the right, and you can see the placement. Sketched and skewed it around, and I'll actually pull it out so you guys can see. I sketched and skewed it to that size there, and you just line it up with the bottom part of his mouth here, and just come kind of straight down with it, and that'll give you his lower chin area. And I want to get the placement. Okay. Alright, layer 28. This again, I used the second black from the far right hand corner down, 80% opacity. Again, you can change this probably to a 75, whatever you prefer. I changed it down to 75 for you guys. And you can see its placement on the right hand corner. That is the pyramid, and you can see both of those. Okay. And again, pause if you guys need to. For layer 29, I use the quarter circle. Okay. And I use the same black, the second one from the right, for layer 29 and 30. Okay, and you can see those are quarter circles, and basically I copied one, pasted it onto the other, and rotated it around, and it's not that hard to do. I mean, you can see here, I might have lightly resized it, but that's not a big deal. They can actually be the same size, and you can either have the placement on top, or you can rotate it and place it on the bottom or in the center, whatever you prefer. It comes out looking pretty good as long as you kind of match it up with your eye accordingly. I'm going to actually place it in the center for you guys, and you can see how they actually lined up with each other. And again, that's sketching and skewing it around. Now for layer 31, I used red, and it's the full circle for layer 31 and 32, and you can see that I had to sketch and scoot around to give him those cheeks, and you can see the rotation. I will highlight and show you the final grid so you can see how everything lined up in case you want to pause right now. Okay. Now that has been Pikachu, and this has been the Mad Review. If you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to do so. I appreciate any and all subscriptions. Again, stay tuned. I will be doing more emblems as time rolls on, and I'll be doing more HD gameplay and commentary. Again, this has been the Mad Review. Thanks, guys.